Okay, welcome to Silence Sound Radio. I'm Gray, and this is Daniel Klag.
Yes.
From New York?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, welcome, Daniel. Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. I make electronic music. I've been doing this project since 2006.
Yes.
I've released maybe 10 or so albums on various labels over the years. My first was in 2011 on a Czech label called AM Discs. Most recently, I released my last two albums were on a label based in New York called Soap Library.
Okay.
My most recent one is called Facsimile. My set I played today was nothing has been recorded before, so this is all newer stuff that I've been working on.
Oh, so it's like improvisation or?
Yes and no. I mean, I think because I'm primarily working with samples, and so there's only so much improvisation you can do because it's a pre-recorded sample.
Yeah.
But I am, and with the Electron box, all the tracks are programmed, and so I'm manipulating the parameters live.
Okay.
But it's sort of improvised in that I'm making decisions in the moment, but it's not like jazz where I can play whatever I want.
Cool. So, Daniel, can you tell us a little bit more about your music life? Is how you get started and start doing all these?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I started playing music as a teenager. I was in a band in high school, and I was the singer. I was not
you were
a good
singer.
I'm not.
Oh.
I was not a good singer, but I didn't play.
We need that video.
I didn't play it.
Okay.
I don't know if there might be a video somewhere.
Okay.
I don't have it. Someone might have it.
Okay.
I didn't play an instrument, but I really loved music and I wanted to get involved. And so I bullied a friend into letting me into their band. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And decided I was going to be the singer. But I was not a good singer, and I was not a good lyricist. And so it's just not... it was not what I was meant to do.
Okay.
Later on, I started playing bass, thinking, let me choose this because it has, of all the instruments in a rock band, it seemed the easiest one.
Really?
It had the
comparing to guitar?
Well,
for me, it's the same thing. So,
for me, my decision was based solely on the number of strings. 4 is smaller than 6, so
true.
It must be
Really?
at least 2 easier.
Apparently, you're good at math.
Yeah, right. So, I find I do this. I make decisions based on what is the easiest point of entry.
Yeah.
So I choose what I perceive to be the easiest instrument.
Yeah.
So I played bass in a band for a few years, and then as friend, this was in school, and as friends were graduating, and it seemed like the band life was not going to continue.
Yeah.
I still wanted to play music because I love music.
Yes.
And it's hard to be a solo bass player when you're not good at bass.
You got to be a fingerstyle bass player.
Right, and so it was just not. So electronic music seemed like a good avenue. And I had a synthesizer, I had a drum machine, and so it just sort of leaned into that, and it's like, well, I like this kind of music. These tools are there's a low barrier for entry. I can.
You mean the synthesizer is more like a keyboard synthesizer, right?
What I had at the time, it was a keyboard synthesizer, and again, I don't have any piano background, and so I was just kind of
playing around
with everything. It has always been trying to find a sound I like, whether it be a sample or a field recording or a sound on a synthesizer, and recording the sound, capturing it, and then looping it, manipulating it somehow in a software environment.
So you start doing sampling at the very first beginning?
Indirectly, I think. So I took a class as an undergraduate in music production, and so it was like a unit on Pro Tools, a unit on Max MSP, and a unit on MIDI.
MIDI, okay.
And so, so a lot of it is just working in Pro Tools, And so it was sampling in the broadest sense in that I was just recording things and, getting into the practice of like, okay, here's a sound, here's a flute sound, here's a violin sound. Let's see what they sound like next to each other, and like dragging and dropping things until they.
So it's based on like DAWs.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said in the very beginning you have a synthesizer and a drum machine, and so you start making ambient music in the first.
It was so my first solo project was like drum machine and synthesizer and vocals, and it was vocals. Like a.
So you're singing again.
I was singing again.
Okay.
But again, I'm not a good singer.
Okay.
And my lyrics were no good, and my drum programming was not the best. And so I found myself recording tracks and then like muting the vocal part and muting the drum part and like listening back to the synthesizer and I don't know, maybe a guitar part that I had fumbled and recorded, and thinking, well, this part is good. Let's just have this part. And so that sort of led me to kind of a more ambient sound. And I listened to ambient music. I liked it. But I was sort of drawn to it because everything else I was bad at.
Okay. So you choose the best part out of yourself.
I tried to. I mean, I think this is often what I do is I listen and I think about what I like and I keep the parts I like and I discard the part I don't like. And it's sort of evolutionary in this way. And so like the survival of the fittest, like just keep the good elements, and the good elements happen to be more ambient and less kind of, I don't know,
drum beat or
song driven. Yeah.
Cool. So all the major project that you've done is ambient music?
Yeah, I mean, what you just heard, there was kind of more drum machine parts. But yes,
like a happy melody and
But essentially,
I like it.
Yeah.
So, you do field recording a lot, right?
I have been. I hadn't up until maybe 2020 or so. I had never used field recordings, and I've started to implement them more. I think they can add a nice texture without having to compose something, and so I just have this little
recorder,
a voice recorder, and then I walk around in it. It's got a pretty crummy microphone, and so it often picks up a lot of kind of wind and hiss and stuff, but I kind of like the texture that you get from it. The field recordings I used today were things I had recorded
before
in Taipei.
In Taipei
in the last 2 days.
So the set is like Taipei sound base.
You could say that.
Cool. Yeah. So can you tell me about the radio thing you're using?
So this is a Soma Ether.
Okay.
It's they call it an anti-radio, but it's a radio receiver that captures a wide frequency range. And so really what it just picks up is static. And maybe it'll pick up a radio signal, but it's really like a radiation detector. In the same way that a radio is a radiation detector, it's just not tuned to a particular frequency. And so I sort of use it to gather static and crunchy sounds, and I thought, let's try it out here and see what kind of
so do you get anything in the set?
It was a lot of static. There was not
a particular sound.
Nothing particularly interesting, that I wouldn't pick up anywhere else. But
that's cool. So, how do you feel about this place?
This place right here.
Why are you playing and feeling?
This was great. Yeah.
Do you feel anything when you're performing? You were performing that in like 5 minutes ago.
I don't know. I think I was so locked into like what I was doing. I sort of tuned out the surroundings around me. Although occasionally, like there was a guy who rode his bike by and was kind of looking like, what is this guy up to? There's now lots of school children walking by.
Yeah, it's like after school time now.
Right. Yeah. So it's
Yeah, it's fun. It's the first time of me doing a podcast outdoor, but I'm feeling like really great now.
Okay.
Yeah, just seeing people walking by and no audience makes you feel no pressure more.
Sure.
So you often perform a lot? Do it
maybe 3 or 4 times a year, not super often. But yeah.
So music is more like your hobby.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So can you tell us about what do you do for work?
Sure. So professionally, I work for a company that we're an education company. I'm responsible for developing large-scale computer science curriculum and assessments.
Yeah. I know it now.
So, yeah.
Oh, so is there any relative between your work and music?
Yes, I think so. My background's in computer science. My day job is in computer science education.
Being a teacher.
Some of the not in the classroom, but sort of related to instruction.
Yeah.
But a lot of the concepts in our courses are related to looping and conditionals and algorithmic thinking and problem solving, and so like it's how I approach music making, in particular with the electron box, because it allows you to easily set some logic. So like, this snare sound will only trigger every 4th time around, or it'll only trigger when the adjacent sound is triggered, or it'll only trigger 25% of the time. And so like a lot of what I was doing with the electron box was modifying the parameters to kind of set like this thing is running, but I'm giving it rules to describe when it will do certain things, which is exactly what we expect.
谢谢 We have
audience
outside. Thank you. 你说你有看过我们的影片是不是？感谢。我们现在在录节目，之后会上，你就找找看会不会出现在这一段 podcast 里面。好，拜拜。So they say they've seen our videos.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah. They're watching. Yeah. Well, it turns out there are people seeing. Like, sometimes I was indulging in my little world. I was like, I'm just going to do this and nobody's going to watch. But that's fun. Oh, yeah. Cool. Sorry, back to the thing that you said about algorithm and the programming thing.
I think I said all I need to say. But
it's okay.
But they're related. I think my skill is I love music.
Yes.
But I'm not a talented musician. I am pretty good at technology. And so...
Are you good at music theory?
No.
No, okay. No. Oh.
No, I mean, I understand some very rudimentary music theory.
Like basic one.
But
no worries, I don't
really
know how to do it.
More, do these two things sound right? And then when I add this third thing, does that sound right?
That's what ambient music do.
But
I guess
it's a lot of just trial and error, which is also a valid computer science strategy. Trying things and see what works and what doesn't work.
Cool. So you agree with like synthesizer is the thing that you don't have to be really good at music theory, but you can also do a lot of things out of it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for me it's the same. I love synthesizer.
It's a great tool because something like this or a keyboard-based synthesizer or something more modular.
Do you play modular?
I have a couple of Castle boxes, the little battery-powered modular boxes.
Like a DIY box.
No, they're not kits or anything like that. But they're these little battery-powered devices that you can patch to each other. I have a couple of those. I haven't fully dived into like modular having an actual rack with modules and things.
But I think the way you did it is really, it's really good because it's easy to travel.
Oh,
right?
Yes. So when I acquire gear, the decision is always, where am I going to put this in my apartment?
Okay.
Right? I can't buy like an
huge
enormous
amount.
organ, right? But I can buy a little
What
sampler.
is this?
It's
It's a sampler. Okay, I can show
a little
people
digital sampler.
This one. Okay.
And I can buy a little mixer that takes 6 channels, and so all this.
It's the same brand, right?
Same brand, yeah.
Okay.
1010 Music.
Ooh, cool. Is it battery powered or?
This one isn't. That one you can buy a case that has a internal battery. I didn't.
Okay.
I don't have one of those, but I might get one.
Okay.
But yeah, small is always like if I see an advertisement for something small, I think
that's what
could I use that?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, and it's not super expensive, then I will buy it.
Cool.
But if at any point if the price is too high or the size is too big, I said no.
Goodbye.
I don't need that. Yeah.
Can you tell me about the iPad that you're using right now? What is that for?
Sure. So on the iPad, I'm running an app called Sampler, Sampler. Sampler.
Oh, it's just sampler, right?
It doesn't show it anywhere.
Oh, it's all right. I will put the subtitle there. Oh, it's just a sampler. Okay. It's just called sampler.
And it's a sampler app. I just capture little sounds with the iPad internal microphone, or you can load in files, and you can play the waveform. And so, like, if I'll unplug this. So this is a waveform of the checkout machine at CVS, which is a
like this
pharmacy store, a convenience store in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, I can play different parts of the
cool.
of the waveform, and it'll just loop that little bit.
Wow.
And so this is something I like because
It's super useful.
unlike it's an app that like takes advantage of the fact that you have a screen. Right, and so you can you do things on a tablet that I can't do on something like this, and so I can
put it in.
It's a fun tool.
Cool. Then what about your iPhone?
Sure. So on the phone, I'm running Tractor, which is a DJ app.
Okay.
And so I just have two tracks loaded. One is Jonathan Richman, and the other one is the Smiths.
Oh, okay.
So I took 2 teeny loops, like a 1-bar loop, and
you reverse it
heavily distorted. Yes, so I used a reverse.
Oh, cool.
And
so the drone that you just did is from this one or this one? Like I heard a drone in the beginning, a brighter drone. What is that come from?
Probably what you heard is the Smiths.
The Smiths.
Doing a loop in reverse.
Cool. All right. Wow, that's a really good equipment for. Yeah, that's super convenient. So I use Modular and VCV Rack. It's a software.
Yep.
And usually the easiest pack I have is like a 64 HP modular case and my computer and a Moog Model 32, and that's my easy set. And I think this is way better.
Okay.
I mean, way lighter, I guess.
It's important to me that I could be able to travel with, even when I play at home. Like, it is so much more convenient to be able to throw everything in a backpack and take it with me than to like have to carry tons of stuff. There was a show I played 2007 or so, and I was bringing more stuff at the time, and I had a shopping cart, like a little foldable shopping cart, filled with synthesizer, a PA head, and a bunch of other stuff. And I hit a crack in the sidewalk that was a little bit raised, and fell over.
Okay.
All the stuff came pouring out into the sidewalk. I flipped over the cart and landed on my chest.
Oh my God, are you okay?
I was fine.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm not carrying this much stuff to a gig ever again. like it's risky. I could hurt myself.
Yeah. How about your equipment?
It was all fine. Everything was fine.
Oh, okay.
I was the most banged up, and I was fine. But
then
I was done carrying heavy equipment on the subway.
Yeah, I believe so.
So backpack's the way to go.
Yeah. So, would you like to share a little bit about your inspiration of music?
Sure.
Yeah.
So recently, like a lot of the kind of the drum machine stuff is inspired by groups like Cluster and Brian Eno and Harmonia. There's a little bit of I really love the band Blonde Redhead, and so Blonde Redhead.
I don't know this one.
And some of the drum patterns are.
They're like an electronic band.
They're kind of like an indie rock group. Their earlier stuff sounded a little bit like Sonic Youth, and then they sort of distanced themselves a little bit from that sound.
Okay.
But some of their I copied some of their drum patterns a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So, look, these are the music that you like. Like you just say the blonde, the red hair. Yeah, and it's an indie band.
Yep.
But then you like from band to electronic music. What's the process?
Like, how do I connect the dots between?
You just share us about the start of, like, more about your thinking way, how you program your set, and how do you know when this sound is good and I want to use it, I want to reverse it.
Oh, I see. I think I'm always listening. And so, in terms of like sampling a Smith's song, I really like that song.
I've never seen people done this. That's cool.
And I really like that song, and I listen to it when I'm walking around, and if I hear a bar of the song that I think,
that's it,
I like this, I could let's see what it sounds like if I just loop that little bit. Let's see what it sounds like if I reverse it or but yeah, it's listening. If something catches my ear, I could use that, and then try it. And there's a lot of stuff that I've tried to sample, and like it didn't work out. And so what I'm only sharing with you the things that I thought were fruitful and good.
Cool. So is there any time that you feel it's hard to produce music? Is there any barrier that you find during this trip?
On this trip, no. I think in general, just time, like making sure I like taking time away from my day job, like taking away time from my responsibilities at home, and just like carving out enough time, because like half an hour is just plugging everything in, right?
Yeah.
And then, where do I start? I don't know. Let me plug in two devices and see where I go. And then, 3 hours could go by and I have produced 1 second of music. And so just making sure you carve out enough time to like.
So what would you do if there's a song that you really want to make it, like you want to finish it? Is there a time?
I think it's.
So
I tend to work quickly in that when I do have time and I've blocked off, this afternoon I'm gonna do something. I will like work end to end, and I might not even have something prepared. I might just go in, hit record in Pro Tools, and like go and see what happens in the next 4 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And listen back, and if I like the results, then great, I'm done. That track is done.
But if you don't,
and if I don't, it will sit on my hard drive forever.
And do it in another day.
Sometimes I return to things. Often I find myself deleting more than keeping. Not deleting, but just like abandoning.
Keeping it in there.
So like I have files and files of half-finished projects that, like, well, this sounded good half an hour ago, but I don't ever want to hear this again.
What often calls me in is when I produce like maybe 15 seconds or like a minute of looping that I really enjoy, then I will be thinking like, okay, I want to make this to a song. And I tend to stuck in that situation for a very long time. I'm not sure if you will have something, you do have something that similar before.
Yeah, so if something might sound good, but if it doesn't go anywhere, like if it's just a short loop, and I can't figure out how to make something longer than 10 seconds, then I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with this, and I'll give up.
Are you just abandon it, or?
Usually, yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, it's a positive thing to do. I mean, there are some artists that I know, they often will be stuck in that situation for a very long time, and they're not going to do the next thing or the next step. It's just going to be 10 seconds and keep on thinking that 10 seconds. Yeah, but that's good thinking about it.
Eventually I have to just
doggy.
Just give up.
Yeah, cool. So back to your life. Is there any book or any person who really inspire you?
Sure. So my most recent album, Facsimile, was inspired by a book by Enrique Villamatas called A Brief History of Portable Literature. It was written in the 80s, but the English translation came out in maybe 2014 or so. So I read it when it came out, and the idea stuck with me for a little while. But the whole concept is it's just a short, maybe 90 or 100-page novella.
What's the main concept of it?
So the concept is the secret society of authors, writers, and artists, mostly writers, who their main concept is portability. And so they will have a portable typewriter, a folding desk, and like travel from place to place and work quickly. And like everything should be unserious and short and brief, and there's kind of like a very loose plot, but it's just this thread running through of like keep it simple, keep it small, keep it portable, and like so the album was all recorded on little tiny battery powered devices.
Cool.
A lot of it was done in my apartment, but some of it was done in hotel rooms when I was traveling. Some of it was recorded on the train. When I had
on a plane.
Not on a plane. Not that album, but I could. I was jamming on the plane on the way here. So that's cool. But yeah, just this concept of like working on the go with small portable devices sort of stuck with me.
Yeah, that's a good concept. Yeah. So you recorded and mixing all by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So where can we find your music?
Sure. So Soap Library is the label that put out my most recent album. So you can go to soaplibrary.net, I think.
Soap is SOAP. Oh, that's Soap. Okay. Yep. Soap Library. Okay.
And then my music's on Spotify. It's on Bandcamp, danielklag.bandcamp.com.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
Cool. Then is there anything you want to share with us within this trip or anything with your life?
I
mean, let me describe a situation like.
Sure.
So there are many people who love music in Taiwan. Apparently, they are struggling with financial balance with music together. Like they're struggling with the balance with financial problem with music. So what would you recommend them to do in your opinion?
Sure. Yeah. So I think you're talking about making music or listening or both?
Like both and how to trying to find a balance out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't need to spend a lot of money to make music.
Yes.
You can make music with just a few small devices.
Yes.
And so like this little recorder, I bought for, I don't know, $30. And I can walk around and record sounds. And I can download this app from my iPad. If I already have an iPad, this app was, I don't know, $20. And this DJ app was, I don't know, $10 or something. And so for under $100, I have a few rudimentary tools that I can use to record sounds and sample them and loop them and sample other artists' sounds. And if you are interested in tinkering in this space, it is easy to get started because a lot of the tools you may already have, and you just download an app to
do it,
to just try it. And if you like it, you know, and you want to spend $10,000 US on equipment, you can, but you can do it for way less.
So the most important part, I think, is to keep on producing, right?
Sure. Yeah. The only barrier, what am I trying to say? Money is not the barrier.
Yes.
You can do this without money. Time is a barrier. You need to make time. So if you set aside enough time, you can explore, and it's worth exploring if you enjoy this sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Klag.
Yep.
Thank you, Daniel. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So is there anything you want to share now?
This has been great.
Okay.
Thanks for hosting. This is such a wonderful space.
Yeah. So thank you, Daniel. Thank you for coming to Taiwan. And now we're in板桥公园. All right. Okay. So I'm Gray, and this is Daniel, and this is Silent Sound Radio. See you next time. Bye bye.